live. Another long drive today, coming back to Charlotte from Columbia. Back after a long vacation is my co-host Nico.
Mm,
So
I'm back. I'm back.
we got Nico on today. It makes my life a lot easier to not talk about myself.
Look, co-hosting.
Yeah. So today we have a topic that is probably pretty spot on for almost everyone because at some point everyone will might come close or possibly experience marriage like Nico has just recently experienced marriage and I've been married for a couple years now, so we're going to talk about the modern conceptions of marriage and the problems that might come with it. So you got anything since you're a recently married man? Maybe something that you didn't think of before you just recently got married, or the things that you and your wife had to work through in the process of getting married that you might have not initially thought of, or
I'll give you my what ended up being my version or me and my wife's understanding of what our marriage will be. So to begin with, I let my wife know when we were in our dating phase that I prefer to choose one woman and build on what we build on. I'm not really a person who wants to build a foundation here and scramble it and start over and scramble it and start over and keep doing that mess. So from the jump, it was really all in. Really, it was either I'm gonna choose you or I'm gonna get a dog and be lonely. Because that was
so
where I was at
where
pretty much.
your dating situation is serious. You don't just date around for the giggles of doing the.
Nah, when I'm single, I'm a single person. I'm not looking to connect. When I'm looking for a relationship, is I want to make one bond and build on top of it. Just keep building. Our our, uh, our initial under really for us to get married was this is a lifelong. This is a my verbiage. This is a during life and an after death adventure that we're taking on.
Mhm.
And in my ideal circumstances, there is no divorce isn't a real thing if you decide to get married. Our marriage is both us joining together and joining our families, and there is no going back. We, we jumped in it with the agreement to fight for what we want, which is each other, and that's the route we chose to go down.
That's cool. Did y'all do any of the marriage counseling type
We
stuff
did not. We just picked the
or
brains
anything like that?
of everyone around us on their what their initial marriage goals were and how their marriage life faded or thrived.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's a you can look them up online, and even if you already are married, it's kind of fun practice. I didn't do marriage counseling either, but there's like paradigms and things that your partners could have before, like coming from their background and their home life and stuff like that, that will be important to know as y'all go into y'all's life. Now, I think you dated your wife for a good little bit
Yeah.
before y'all got
2 years.
married. So y'all had 2 years, so you might know a lot of these things already. But one of them is open home, closed home. Have you ever heard of that?
No, what's that?
So, like when I grew up, my house was a closed home, which means we didn't have a lot of visitors. We kind of kept to ourselves. Where my dad, I would consider pretty antisocial. He didn't even like going out to public restaurants and stuff of that nature. So we were a very closed home. We didn't invite anyone over unless it was family, and even the family only stayed like a very short period of time. We weren't all about having everyone over at her house. My wife's family, when she was very young, was a little bit close, but as she got older, became an open home, which means they had people come over, and they were fine with mostly family for her, but they were fine with having a lot of people come to the house, and that was normal. So you can have people that grow up with my house was the neighborhood hangout versus we never had anyone over at my house for no reason whatsoever. And if, one of the spouses have an expectation of having a house like their childhood, and that's not communicated, you can kind of run into problems like, God, I'm so tired of all these people being over at my house, versus, God, I'm so lonely. There's never anybody over here at this house.
All right, I got a quick question to pick back up that. Were you in at all of her?
So, yeah, I feel it's kind of stereotypical of the guy to jump off and kind of pursue the woman, and depends on how you think of the matter. You're supposed to, in some way, kind of break away from your household norms and move out of your family's house, and then pursue the woman that you want to marry. But I would say that the way I was raised was the way that I was raised is we kind of had, I don't know, it's very different from the way that I was raised is a little bit transactional, and then we would purposely set aside like thing to do with a person, and it was like, here, I did this thing for you. So like when I was younger, I would watch Hallmark movies with my mom sometimes, and it was like, here's this thing that I give to you, and that's how it would be. Like I would do that, and then she would take me out shopping or something, or we would go out and eat or something. And then for my dad, it was almost always something work related. It's like, here, I mowed the grass for you, or this or that, or I did these chores. And that's how we pass back and forth appreciation. That's not how my wife's family is at all. It's almost like the appreciation is always there, and then if stuff gets passed on top of that, it's like, oh, that's awesome. So it's almost like there's a deep community aspect of my wife's family, whereas my family wasn't a very intrinsic community. There wasn't a whole lot of communication. So that would be a big difference. And it makes sense from like the closed style home that I had versus the open style home that she had. So I ended up kind of going and becoming a part of that, and just forming with that. So we didn't run into too many problems whenever we started a home together, because I kind of understood her background, and I was willing to change things about my background to conform to hers, because I learned things that were good for my background, but ultimately the way that I wanted to structure the home was more akin to her family background.
So me and my wife have a very similar situation. So I'm from a very open family. My mother, she's not the matriarch of my family, but my grandmother was. And I guess it's my mother's daughter that passed down to her. But everyone comes to my mother's house to eat, to just to come check on her. So from childhood to 18 to 20, it's an open door. It's an open door policy. So that's how my house was, and my wife's wasn't as much so. It was more like her and her mother, and maybe a sister or an aunt would come check in, but it wasn't as regular, and it wasn't like a let's enjoy each other. I just came to check on you to make sure you was good, okay with me. It was a true transaction. It wasn't a let's break bread with each other and enjoy each other's time. So for me, in our situation, my wife's always pointing out aspects where she wished her childhood had been more like mine, because it seems more. Hers was closed door, but it was also more rules. My house had less rules, but a loving structure. It was
Yeah.
like if you got out of line, it was like you felt bad for getting out of line.
Yeah.
There wasn't much discipline. Like I'm gonna keep beating
Yeah.
you to understand. It was just like I told you what to do. Like you just choose wrong.
Yeah.
That's how the conversation. And those conversations are amazing to watch with my wife and my mother speak because they're both used to talk to different people, and my wife's more argumentative, my mother's more say your piece and I'll speak mine. And it's just amazing to see the two not clash but try to figure the other out.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
I would say the same thing. I think about my childhood a little bit, but like Lindsay, my wife, she has like a fond, like intimate memory of her childhood, and she thinks back on it and like she doesn't wish to go back, but she like
Super nostalgic.
yeah, she's nostalgic over the experiences she had, and I'm like, yeah, my childhood was good, but like I'd much rather.
Right, it was just a childhood.
It was just a childhood. I don't want to go back in any way, shape, or form. But she's like, she had a lot of peace in her childhood, and even though, and that's another ironic part. Uh, her life and a lot of the systemic factors that were going on around her were um, a lot more traumatic. So she had a lot of traumatic events, but she still looks on her childhood with much more nostalgia than I look on mine, where I had very, very few traumatic events. And I just didn't have any like super amazing events that like stuck out. So I'll say that mine was the same thing. Lindsay's household likely had less rules, but since there was so much communication and active caring about everything that the person did, and the parents were so involved in wanting to know what their children thought and everything like that, then it was almost like they felt guilty if something went wrong. Whereas mine, since things were transactional and conversation was sparse, it became easier to hide in plain sight in mine. So even if my punishments would have been greater, if whatever I was doing was ever found out, then that would have been a problem. But that wasn't how it was, because typically, I didn't get to speak to them enough to
dig it out.
Yeah, for any of that kind of information to get dug out. So I felt like I kind of went through and kind of figured out stuff myself, and then whereas Lindsay's situation is she had a mentor and had someone that she could speak to everything with, in her mother. So that's a big difference. But we're kind of diverging, getting onto the marriage aspect. Setting it up. How did you perceive marriage going into it? Is there anything that shifted about the way that you thought it would be, or did you kind of have a full expectation of it?
Personally, I'm really simple. I wanted marriage to just be my past, my current relationship with my fiance, when it was the current relationship. I just wanted to evolve to where I didn't want any actual change. I just wanted proof on earth that this is the woman I chose to go through life with. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to change nothing, and it hasn't. And like, so when people ask me how's marriage, I'm like, it's the same. Like, it's amazing. Like it didn't.
So that would be the assumption that y'all lived together and stuff before.
No.
Oh, really?
No.
So y'all waited to live together until after y'all got married? Okay, that's interesting. What was your thought process behind that, and why did y'all wait to move in together?
So it wasn't ideal, but we both take care of our parents. So it's more of we're moving 4 people into a home together. So we have to make sure everybody's comfortable. Doctors still, everybody's still within like a proper radius to get to their doctors or their specialists.
Yeah.
That was one of like the main. Just we were really thinking about going out of state. That was the jump. But both the mothers and the healthcare situation, they would have to change providers so much that it became a hassle.
Yeah. So
it wasn't the ideal thing, but I've noticed as a child, like we grew up together, so
yeah,
we've spent a lot of time together. And prior to marriage, we tried to, I don't know, press every button we could to see like if we could break the other.
yeah,
Like that's I don't know how to say, but we tested each other, not in a malicious way, but are you or can you like can you live up to the standards that you set for yourself as well as the standards I want my partner to have?
yeah,
And at each phase, we stepped to the plate and hit home runs. So it showed me that she was willing to strive and achieve with me, and vice versa.
yeah. Um, I don't know. I guess I'll answer the same question for myself. I don't know if it's because of just the way that I am or anything, but it marriage to me was like it always seems like something. There's only so many things in life that actually derive a whole lot of value out of. So like having a really good relationship with your significant other, that's one of the main things
Yeah.
that you can really get a lot of life value out of. Children is one, and then doing something exceptional with your career is like the last one. So after those things, there isn't many there isn't many more options. And I saw a lot of my peers choose different things first. Like they were going to go to college and then, you know, pour a bunch of money into that, and then they wanted to pursue a career that they really weren't even that adamant about, and they pour all their time into that and all these things. And I don't know, it just felt completely backwards. I liked the days of our grandparents when, you got married young
Pick your partner, then you try to build your
and then you build your life with them versus build your life and then try to
come back.
throw in a person after the fact. It seems counterintuitive, but so I met Lindsay and I was immature. So there was a lot of me that needed to change in order to become the person that she needed, because we like our first real date was when I was 18 years old. I took her to Charlotte to eat at Fahrenheit for my birthday. So,
Okay.
but it was when I was 18 years old. So I had a lot to work through, and she had that strong foundation from her family and the way she was raised, and her own emotional intelligence that I lacked, because I kind of went through life figuring stuff out by getting hit on the head and then turning around. So I had to update a lot of the things that I was doing in order to become what I needed to be someone that she could marry. So I found that process as value meaning as a value creation process, like the self growth that you have to endure to, you know, go from being a bachelor to being married, and then the self growth again from being a married person to having children. I find that something is very fulfilling, and focusing on that as something very fulfilling. So I've just like created a life where me becoming the best husband I can for Lindsay is just something that thrills me and motivates me. So that's kind of been the thing. And there was all kinds of little things that we had to figure out. Like, I don't know if you and your wife had like a money talk, but what's your perception of money? And my wife, she sees it as security. So she sees it as safety, and I see it as a tool for growth. So we have to have a strong balance between how I'm using our money to, grow it to try to make more money, versus also having a nest egg, so that way she feels
She's
secure and comfortable and safe, and then providing the things that are actually of value. Like we both strongly value having a house at some point, and because of the way the housing market is at this time, it it's a tall task to try to figure something like that out. But I I try to make steps to make that more possible. Sometimes it works out pretty good, sometimes it doesn't, but those kind of things are stuff that we had to work through.
that's one we trying to figure out too. How to how to what's the word? Really trying to figure out which one is more important. The We're both building for the future as far as credit, money, history with paying bills and all that stuff. But right now, do we invest in certain things, or do we just move everything to the future?
Yeah.
And we're like in the middle of that, trying to figure out: do we rent now, buy now, sell house? Like, what's the process?
Yeah. So I was interested in your conception of dating. You said that when you and your wife were dating, you had kind of like a serious stipulation around it. It's like this is either something that we're really going to work towards, or this is something that we're not going to put any effort in at all. So, would you say that dating in its purest sense is supposed to be with marriage at its goal, or what's the problem with dating today?
So we spoke about this earlier, and my intention was always to date to marry. If I'm in a single friendship type of thing, that's stated. It's not a this is going to evolve or this is somewhere to grow. I want a clear understanding for me personally and for the partner, because I hate confusion in that aspect. Because we all can build up this future in our heads, and so I try to make a clear foundation. And I couldn't I can't just bounce around for me. That's just not a good motion. I need to build with with a person who I feel like is honestly worth building with. 'Cause a lot of people they decide playing games and you'll never know until you peel back the onion layers. And for the
I think the
conversation,
onion layers is a good analogy
yeah.
there.
Like in prior when we spoke about how dating has become like micro dating and how uh, there is no build up to I don't know how to say it besides intercourse. There's usually it's a transactional now. Like, do you want to do this with me or not? And I think that's what leads people to doing what you spoke about, where they go build themselves first and then try to come back and like rewind to like a starting point to build again with another person. But it's like you've already started to build your character. Now you're gonna have to tear down walls that are probably fundamental to how you feel like you processed or made it through the world.
Yeah.
And you're gonna do it with a partner, and now they have the things that the choices that they made in life, and you might not agree with. So yeah, I think a lot of people are doing it backwards with the.
I think it is unfortunate because there is as a society, we have a strong pull to material success, and there isn't any indicator besides a, a person's competence or ability to um, accumulate whatever that means, like whether it be monetarily or they have a lot of value on the looks front or any other value additive they can have. Women see a lot of value in men of higher status. So from a psychoanalytic perspective, having a higher status makes you more eligible in the dating market if you're a man. So it makes sense why people would go, think that they need to build themselves up and have this significant career and all these things before they find someone to settle down with. But unfortunately, if you look at the statistics, by the time that you do that and you're in your late 20s or early 30s, you've set like hardwire frameworks that are significantly harder to change, and the likelihood that you actually get married and stay married is significantly less. And if you've had a lot of sexual partners between in that time, then your likelihood of getting married and staying married is even less. So they throw around the scary statistics of most marriages fail within the first 5 years, but that includes people that, wait until they're 30 and already have, these set expectations. They've been with 100 women, and then they have these expectations that are unrealistic, or they, they have things that they want and they feel like the other person isn't providing them because they've aggregated 100 different people to be what their ideal conception is, and they can make themselves miserable. Whereas you could try to find the opposite route, or a middle ground route. Now everyone does, the person that they feel compatible with available to them at any given moment, but I feel like there's a right way and a wrong way to go about the situation.
So for me, I say for young men, the best route would be just to build yourself and be prepared for the woman when you meet her.
Yeah.
Don't be trying to play catch up. Once you meet her, now you gotta try to exceed your current means. Just strive for a life that you feel like some people aren't even looking for family. So
Yeah.
if you're trying to be a family man, it starts when you're young, really. Like building your wants, your needs, what you feel like the things that can strengthen your character. It starts young, and you just gotta find them building blocks. For me, it's always been an internal thing, but for Dylan, I think that's a little bit different. Am I wrong?
So
Like I built my internal block, like how you was talking about, like um, in Presbyterian, the is.
well, that's moral framework, but I mean it depends on, like, there's ways you can orient yourself in your life that will have a better outcome for yourself as far as your own well-being, and a worse outcome. So if you are okay with like absolute torture and the most pain is the absolute worst outcome, and then the whatever the opposite of that is the best outcome, and taking steps to the better outcome would be good, then then you can kind of orient yourself on that framework for a long term, and you can set up value systems on top of it. But I a lot of people will say something like, I'm waiting for the one, or I'm waiting for a person that I just connect with, or this or that. But the thing about it, especially with the conception of the one, is I think it's a bad question to ask yourself. Like, or how do I find the one, is something I hear thrown around the internet. And I think it's a bad question because, one, it implies that, the perfect person is just sitting somewhere waiting on you to find them, like under a rock or something. And then two, it it also implies that you're the one that's meant for them. And if it it and lastly, it implies that you don't have to do anything to for this to occur. It's just going to be like, you just haven't found them yet.
Yeah,
It's
y'all
like,
ain't been at the same place at the same time.
y'all haven't been at the same place at the same time. I think that's super naive. Like, the likelihood of there's a perfect person, you're a perfect person, and y'all just haven't been at the same place at the same time, it's like statistically impossible. not least because there is no perfect person. So the best way to instead of saying where do I find the one, and like for Nico, he told me earlier that he had that conception of like there is the one, and it gave him a sense of standards. But I think you can implement that backwards, whereas you want a specific person. What is your conception of the one? And it's like, okay, this person is attractive. This person is competent. This person, if you're a female, you probably want a man that can work a job and keep a job. If you're a man, if you want kids, you probably want a woman that can is competent and could care for children, and you feel like she would be a good mother. There is no more important decision for your children's lives than the decision of their mother. That is the most impactful decision that you can choose. It's like all the way down to their gene structure. She's going to be a huge part of the rearing of your children. So these are things you should take into consideration, and that will make you have values that you have to measure these people up against, so you're not just accepting anything that walks through the door.
It says they like you.
Yeah, and says they like you. The desperation will put you in bad situations real quick. But instead of saying, where do I find this person at? It's like, imagine what this person is. Literally write out a list. Like, do it for 5 minutes, and it will change your dating life forever. It's like, write out a list of everything that this person, supposedly the one, is. And then, once you see that list, ask yourself, who would this person be attracted to? And then become that. And it sounds counterintuitive to what we said earlier, but you on the path to becoming that thing could also be what is attractive. Like a man that can control his own urges, that has self-discipline, and that will listen whenever they're corrected, and is a man after wisdom versus his own self-aggrandizement and pride. It's like, those are the two biggest things. Like if you're humble enough to accept when you're wrong and listen to another person's opinion, and you're competent enough to actually pursue something that's meaningful, and you can control yourself, don't just go do like absolutely random stuff, binge partying, and whatever the kids do these days. Whatever, if you're showing some strength of character, then that will be attractive. So trying to become the person that person would be attracted to will be the market for that kind of person. Maybe they're a person interested in a specific field. Let's say you want a really smart man, and you just think neurochemistry is so cool. Well, if you become someone that is somewhat proficient in that field, you might end up being around those people. Like if you're a female that if you're a female that's interested into a specific topic, hypothetically, whatever it is, the topic is X, and you want a guy that's like top notch in that topic for whatever reason, that's your notebook dream guy. He's just really, really smart in this said topic. Then pursuing the topic more will put you in circles with more people that know about the topic. And that's just a crude, random example. But I think the whole conception of finding the one, it implies that you don't have to do anything. And, I'll tell you something. You're going to like this. So, pufferfish. These little round fish, they have these tiny little fins. They can't pick up anything with their fins at all. They will go down to the bottom of the ocean where there's enough lighting, and they will make a sand sculpture out of, and they'll make like it looks like a flower. It's like a 30-foot flower. It's huge. It's gigantic. If there's a little rock in it, they'll swim down. They'll pick up the rock and take it away with their mouth. And they'll keep on swimming up, and they'll look at their creation. They'll swim back down and fix it. And they can swim up, look at their creation. Like, look it up. Look up image of pufferfish, male pufferfish sand sculpture. It'll blow your mind. And these little pufferfish that literally have no opposable limbs create these beautiful sand sculptures to try to attract their mates. And that's how they show their competence. It's like these little pufferfish that can't, like, would you go and like scratch the sand with your head to show somebody that you're competent and you can create a sand sculpture to try to impress them? It's like, probably not. These little pufferfish are working harder than almost all the men. There's another one, bowerbirds. They basically have this, they create their nest, but out in front of their nest, they create this like little sanctuary thing. It's basically like a front yard, but they decorate their front yard. They'll find like, twine and bright, shiny objects and soda bottle caps and anything that they can find that looks pretty to them. They'll put it on in their front yard and decorate it. And they'll not only decorate it, but they'll make a dance that fits with their creation. So when the female comes in, she judges the male based off of the beauty of his creation and then his dance within his creation. And if another male comes and tries to steal one of their things, the chances are his dance isn't going to be good because he didn't create it. So these bowerbirds are literally decorating their entire in front of their system or in front of their nest to attract the female and making a dance for it. I don't know, that just blew my mind, just the effort gap between what most men will apply, or women, and what animals apply that don't have conscious experience. It's like, that's crazy.
When you were saying that, it reminded me of the Birds of Paradise. They do the same thing. It's like all these different types of exotic birds, and the males will always either build a platform or they'll put on a show trying to show the females how their wings are stronger, how they are the most fit bird.
Or peacocks.
Yeah.
And almost every other even deer, the male deers have the antlers, and they'll have something to show the female that they're competent. They'll chase away the competition. And I feel like to a certain extent, men, they will hear what I just said. It's like, instead of saying, how do I find the one, become the one, and they'll be like, oh, that's just too difficult. I don't want to get out of my, gaming and my whatever I'm doing at the moment. I can't be bothered to actually go make something of myself and improve. So I'm just going to be mad about the world. And they basically, Dostoevsky has a great novel called The Underground Man. And the Underground Man is basically like this guy that thinks he's a genius, and he's just a pretty rough character. But even though reality keeps on hitting him in the face over and over again, he's too prideful to admit to the fact that he might be wrong and he needs to take another course of action to try to improve the situation. But he just won't do it. And I feel like and he just becomes angry and bitter and resentful of everybody that has anything that he wants.
Yeah, I think that's like it feels like that's what's happening nowadays, where a lot of younger guys, it's almost like they quit before they start, because for some reason they might not see it as easy, or they don't have the tools, and they're like, I can't be that, I can't get that, I can't.
There is no easier time in America to get ahead. There is no easier time in the world. I mean, considering the fact that less than 100 years ago, food was a scarcity, and in the Great Depression, like a lot of people actually starved to death. It's like in today's world, you don't have to worry about starving to death in the first world country.
In today's world, you can be yourself. Like, so many different versions of the right person.
Nowadays, the problem is choosing what to be versus not having an option at all. Like in the 1900s, you had to do whatever you could do to have food for that day, and chances are it was some kind of agriculture. And if you plant your seed in the winter, then you didn't have no harvest during the spring and the summer. So it was a different world. So now that you can kind of get away with all these distractions and
playing things level in a certain sense. So
yeah. Oh, there's so many people that just don't put in any effort. Like you can just by putting in, I forgot what the statistic was. It was like 15% more time at work is a 40% increase in pay on average across the lifetime. So the people that just put in 15% more effort, they end up making more money over the lifetime, especially if you're working somewhere that's like a 40-hour minimum thing and you just stay just a little bit longer to finish up your thing. You come in a little bit early and you show up before you're supposed to be there. And it's like when the boss is poking around for a replacement for the manager of your area, it's like, well, you're going to be the first person that comes to mind because he can see that you care. But I want to extend this even into the marriage, and you can tell me what you think about this. But maybe this is the clippable moment. But to harp on the idea of the one, in the Bible, there's only one couple that is explicitly created for each other.
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve, exactly. And Adam and Eve is the only couple in the Bible that was explicitly made for each other. And they had pervasive relationship problems to the point where Adam was blaming God for Eve's creation. So they had pervasive relationship problems. So what does that go to tell you? That means...
Me personally, I feel like that definitely, it clears a little bit of the fog for me, where problems will come. Just be prepared to solve the problems. Don't let the problems be something that build or something worth arguing. Like for me, I don't like arguing. I like to just speak my piece. I'm not really an arguer. So for me, I feel like that's the main part.
Yeah. I know. It's like we're in a city and we're losing signal. Adam and Eve was the only couple made for each other in the Bible, and they had pervasive problems. That goes to tell me that marriage isn't about your short-term happiness. It's not about, you just being fulfilled through another person's love all the time. It's about the growth of the individuals in the marriage. And for the benefit of the children that get brought up in the marriage too, if that is something that's applicable for the couple, which it would be for most people. It's like, to keep using the same analogy, when God created Eve, he said she is to be Adam's helpmeet. And in the original Hebrew, that means something of the sense of beneficial adversary. So this person is supposed to combat you to make you better, a beneficial adversary. It's something to challenge you to grow. That's the way my relationship with my wife was, and I was just smart enough to know that I didn't know everything. So that way I could take the things that she would say and then think about those things and then have a feedback loop and become wiser all the more because of it. If you aren't if you're in a relationship and all of a sudden things are getting a little bit hard because now you're expected to change stupid things that probably relatively trivial things that aren't that hard to change, and you feel unbothered to change them and you want to throw away the baby with the bathwater because of it, then that's just immaturity on the person's part. They don't understand the benefit of growing with the partner. It's like to assume that marriage is just a hedonistic game for your own self-aggrandizement. It's like, no, of course not. Of course not. You would hope that you would become better over time. Anyone that has any sense wants to be better tomorrow than they were today.
See, that's why I think the people modern version of marriage is like I'm married to somebody to get better.
Well, I think a lot of people get really infatuated over like the concept of love. And at first, love is like this really potent drug, but after being in a relationship for a long time, love becomes something that you choose to keep feeling. It's like it's a choice to do these things in order to keep producing a feeling. Like if you think about the first part of your relationships, you're probably like, oh, I'm gonna get flowers and I'm gonna do this, and it's just always constant. It's like those things wear off, and you have to actually think about doing those things to keep that active, to keep that spark alive. And
you always got to pour it.
yeah, it's like at the very least, marriage is the voluntary giving of yourself for another person's benefit. It's like if you're getting married solely for your own benefit and not for the benefit of the other party, you should tell the other party and they should run before y'all get married. Because if it's all about you, then you don't understand what marriage is. Not to mention, like I think that's the failed construct. Like people will assume like, oh, I'm always just supposed to feel like this deep love. I'm always supposed to, be happy. I'm not supposed to be challenged. The other person's always just supposed to do what I want. You know something actually kind of funny? When females that suffer from like a traumatic stress event that causes them to be hyper afraid, they'll go through psychotherapy for this. And in psychotherapy or in any type of therapy, what they'll do is they'll introduce them to the negative stimulus that they're afraid of. So, for some people, they might be terrified of contamination. Like they're terrified of getting dirty. So they'll have them touch a trash can with a pool cue or with a rubber glove on their hand. Or maybe someone's scared of an elevator and then they'll just have them imagine getting on the elevator in their mind. You know what happens to them when they go home? To the psychologist's dismay, they end up getting into marital bouts when they go home. Yes, and the reason the females become more brave as a result of confronting their fears. So instead of being passive and allowing the man to dominate their life and do whatever he wants to do, but never speaking up for themselves, they actually have the nerve to say what they want. And then it leads to issues because the man is probably used to just having his way all the time, and then they have marital conflict because of said thing. But that's another thing. I don't feel like women, to a certain extent, hold up what they expect out of a man. Not in the same, not to the expectations of 50 years ago.
Yeah, so that was a thing. I don't know if it's a women thing or my old lady, but I had to get her to understand like some of the way like the things you describe in her head is not like reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't describe it in the perfect scenario. Describe it in this world.
You got an example?
Um, we had so many of those conversations. I can't think of one right off the top of my head.
So
I'll come back to you.
for me, talking about like having conversations with my wife, and this will be useful to anyone that's dating or in a relationship. It's like most of the time people talk to think, and women, because they are made to care for infants, that's naturally biologically, so feminists don't get angry. Not that any I have any feminists in my viewage, but they're biologically made to have children. So they are hyper to small problems because they have to be, because they have to, wake up when the baby makes a noise in the middle of the night. They have to be sensitive to these small things. So a lot of times a female will bring a problem to you before they have like refined it down to its, like one sentence perfection, like explanation. So it will come across as like, babe, I don't feel like you care. It's like, what do you mean you don't feel like I care? I've done this, this, and this, and this. It's like, that's not what I meant. It's like, you didn't do this. And it's like, just because I didn't do that, I did all these other, and then you have to you go down this rabbit hole just to find out that there's a specific feeling that she's feeling, and it just wasn't conveyed very effectively to the at the first point. So my point is that whenever a problem, if you're a wise man, you want to be corrected. The wise love correction. A scorner rejects correction. A wise man would rather have the truth versus have a lie that and be self-validated for something that is a lie. So if you're wise, you want to be validated for things that are true. So whenever a problem is brought up in your marriage, a lot of times your wife might use emotional language, but try to hear the emotion under the conversation. So they might say something like, I don't feel like you care, but really you dropped the ball somewhere. Like, there's a reason she feels that way. Don't automatically attack just because.
Don't attack the whole goal.
Yeah, don't attack strong man the argument. Like, become good at arguing for your wife's position.
Getting her to elaborate.
Yeah, so it's like, instead of attacking the random thing she says, take the thing that she said and try to get to the emotion under the statement. It's like, if she says, I feel like you don't care, then there's something under that needs to be unpacked.
Why do you feel that way?
Why do you feel that way? What is a specific situation where I made you feel that way? Steel man the argument. Make it the strongest case that you can get, and then you can break it down from there.
You can have a clear understanding after that.
Yeah, and then once you actually break it down, just the fact that you showed that effort there validates the fact that you care.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you automatically just tear down the argument based off of an emotional
Emotion,
claim,
yeah.
then that validates her. That validates you not caring. I think this one's gonna need a part 2.
Yeah.
But
we'll so the main gist of this one. I don't think there's a absolute perfect one, and if you searching for the perfect one, you're gonna miss her. Build you first.
well, to extend on that, I don't think you find the one. I think you become the one by the merging of your two. If you're religious souls, if you're not psyches, like y'all coming together and growing together and achieving goals together is what makes you the one for each other. Y'all have to actually go through hard times. If you don't have the hard times, then you can't grow. You have to grow together. That's like the whole point in marriage.
And fellas, it's so much peace, and it's so much. I don't know another word besides peace. Like like right now when I leave here, I'm going to see my wife. Like,
Yeah, me too.
there's like
And then
a
people will say things, silly things like you lose all your options. You know who has the most sex out of any people group? Married religious men.
That makes sense. Yeah. If you want some, find you one.
Yeah, and then
One.
like I had coworkers. They spend half of their time, half of their mental energy. I'm thinking of one guy in particular. Half of their mental energy chasing tail.
That
And it's like, what if all that energy could be focused on something productive?
like making money.
Like making
And
more
you know
money.
your lady was
And he
already
was
waiting on
struggling for that too. So
They go hand in hand. It definitely clears up a lot of brain space where you can just
that's
know
another
certain
thing. A
things are just
lot of
gonna
people
function.
think that, oh, I'm gonna make more money if I just grind myself. It's like, chances are you don't have the what is it? You don't have the willpower to keep yourself accountable to grind for yourself for long enough to actually make more money. On average, men that are married and have children make more money than men that don't. And that's because they have a wife
You got something to grind for.
to provide for, especially if you're a single income family like me. And you have children to provide for.
Yeah.
So I'll be laying in a grave before I don't have food on the table for my children.
Right. Give you a whole nother battery in your back.
Yeah. So like us doing this podcast and stuff, it's like I work a lot. I like doing this kind of work, but I do more than the average.
Mhm.
So but acting like my wife and children aren't motivation for trying to achieve more is absolutely crazy. And I can have my wife and my children and the fulfillment with that and chasing a career that's fulfilling. So
It puts you on a good path, fellas.
yeah.
It starts you out on the right track. You just gotta make sure you maintain your course, build your foundation, and the rest gonna follow.
Yeah. Become the person that the one would be attracted to. Don't look under rocks.
She ain't there.
Yeah. Or he.
Okay.
All right, boss man. It's
All right,
good
man.
live. This is Dylan James Gross.
This is Nico